I'm sorry I've been missing in action for a couple of weeks. It's been really busy, loads of reasons why I've not been able to get onto YouTube. The first one was that I was on holiday, my summer holidays, which were great. The second one is that my job, which I love, has been really busy and very exciting, and I'll tell you more about that later on, maybe in another video. But also because I had a bit of a flare-up of my rosacea, which you can see little dots of it are still there on my skin. So I've just been avoiding too much makeup and just giving my skin a bit of a chance to heal. Rosacea is a funny thing because it can last about 2 or 3 weeks, and that's even when I've identified the cause and done something about it. For me, it was red wine. I don't normally drink, but I had 2 glasses of red wine with a meal with friends a couple of weeks ago, and the next day I was all flared up and blotchy. And it just hangs around for a good couple of weeks, so there's nothing you can do. If you get a flare, you just have to go, okay, I've got a flare up, I'll just leave it. So drink plenty of water, use calming products. So things like aloe vera are very good, a nice rich moisturiser, not too much makeup. I think I only wore makeup twice, literally just a bit of concealer and that was it. And I was investigating, you probably saw on my blog that I was playing around with camouflage makeup, not necessarily camouflage but colour corrective, because I'm not wearing any makeup at the moment, but you can see I have darkness here, you know, redness, uneven skin tone, all that sort of stuff. Very normal. I consider myself lucky that it's not worse. I think 99% of the emails and tweets and Facebook messages that I get are from women who suffer from dark circles, uneven skin tone, loads of stuff. So I investigated some products. Now I have some products already that I had from America which are over there, but they're basically base colours. So you get things like blue, green, yellow, white and orange. And they're great, but they're very, very strong. And I didn't have anything really that I was happy mixing them with. The way I feel about camouflage is it is full coverage, absolutely no doubt about it, utterly full coverage, but I don't want it to feel thick and heavy and cakey. So I investigated a new product that was available in the UK, because although a lot of my viewers are in the US, I don't want to neglect people in the UK who have to pay high shipping and taxes to get products from the US. They were going to send me the whole range, which is fantastically generous, but I kind of said, I just want to try them. If I like them, I'm very happy to buy things. I've kind of got to the stage where if I like something, I will buy it. I don't necessarily need to be sent it. But it is very nice to try things for review, because if I wasn't going to buy it, then I'd be glad I didn't. Or I might go and buy it again, which I've done a lot of times with products I've been sent. This is vitiligo, which I don't know if you can see, but on this side, this person has lost all of the pigment in their fingers, but here it is, actually sort of painted back using the Varama system. So I'm going to go through it actually and sort of show you how I would use it on things like under, I feel a bit vain using it for under eye circles, I don't really have any major issues, but I have found it the only thing which totally covers the redness that I get when I have a bad flare-up. Okay, I've turned this upside down. In your kit, you can order one of these mixing plates. It's not entirely necessary, you can just use a clean piece of plastic, or if you have a mixing palette like I do, like that one, then you can use that too, but this does make it quite easy to sort it out. Now when you choose your colour, you'll be choosing something appropriate to your skin tone, and obviously I'm Indian, so my skin tone I was recommended to use VC4 and VC3. So you always take your lightest one and place a little bit in the grooves of this channel, like that. And then take a little bit of your darker colour and place that in the next channel. I'm not gonna, I know what my colouring is, so I know I don't need to add too much of the dark one. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix our perfect shade. Now it says to use a pinhead, but I don't have any pins lurking around, so I'm using a clean cocktail stick. That's about as close as I can get in really. So I've taken a pinhead of the lighter colour, get that right in the middle, I'm doing this upside down, pop it in the tray, flip it over and take a pinhead of the darkest colour, pop that in, mix the two together. You're thinking, oh, that's such a pathetically small amount, but this is just to get the proportions of how much you need, and believe me, a little goes a very long way. Now I know immediately that that's going to be too dark for me. I've already tested it. I kind of know my ratio. My ratio is about 2.5 of the lighter to 1 of the darker. Keep going through this process of mixing the two together until you get your perfect shade. It can take a lot of practice, but it's so worth it because this is a total cover. You don't want it looking out of place. So here's how I'm going to test it. I've got my sort of mixed palette here. I'm just going to take a cotton wool bud and take that and apply it down my face, like this. The next thing to do is to take your drop-in colour, which is the thing that makes it come alive, and for my skin it's yellow. There's my colour mixed up, and over there is a little bit of yellow and orange, and I'm just going to mix all of them until I get my perfect shade. With this system you have to use a primer because you don't want it slipping off or anything during the day. So I'm taking the tiniest pump of just a silicone primer. This is the e.l.f. mineral infused, and I'm just patting that lightly all over the face. To use. I've got loads of different brushes because when you're camouflage concealing you can't just slap it on. You have to use the right size of brush for the area that you're working on. So very tiny flat brush, concealer brush for larger areas, very small concealer brush. If I put them all together, baby, middle child, mummy, and then foundation brush. So I'm going to start with the concealer brush, the large concealer brush, because I'm going to be working on areas of the face, starting at the middle and just gently sweeping that over the face. You can see immediately it just covers everything. It's amazing. All this pigmentation here, which is different. You know, Asian women often have pigmentation on the forehead, which is different to the rest of the face. We're kind of patchwork really. I'm literally just sweeping that carefully on. I'm not using very much, I've not even really made a dent in that. I will come back to the eyes, down the nose, around the nose. You really just have to use the lightest amount because it's very, very pigmented. And it dries as well, so it's not going to feel greasy and heavy. They really have thought hard about this to do a good job. You have to be long wearing. This is kind of water resistant as well. You can wear it in the shower. Okay. Gosh, that looks really quite intense. And take it down the neck. You're going to need to pay a lot more attention than I am because I'm just running through this. But you can take your time. A damp sponge also works really well with this. Now I'm just going to go away and make sure that's all properly blended because it's looking a little streaky, and I'll be back. So I just thought I'd show you how I blend. Because my skin is quite dry, I use a flat brush and this is slightly damp, and I literally just blend outwards, down the hairline. God, I look like a ghost. I promise you this is a very good match for my skin tone. I'm very happy with it though, it really is working. Look, it's completely, all of that redness and splotchiness that you saw on my face before is really nicely covered up. So again, go in different directions, the slightly damp brush. You can even buff with a kabuki, but that might sort of just buff it in and buff it away. So I am just flicking over. Don't forget to do your ears if you're, you know, in photos and stuff. And that feels very nice indeed. But with this full coverage, you can use it as a concealer and a foundation. So I'm taking the tiny, tiny brush, and I'm going to go in and go under the eyes. I think that's about right. And just gently touch over areas that you want to lighten up. You can see that's already sort of lifted that whole corner. And blend away to nothing. There, I'm really happy with that. I also wanted to mention that you can use this system all over the body. So I'm using it on my face, which is kind of the obvious place, but let's say you had some tan lines, a tattoo, a birthmark, something that you wanted to cover up. It works anywhere on the body, and I think that's why a little goes a long way, because a lot of people might use it on large sections of the body, like the arm or something, like a burns victim or something like that. So I feel a little guilty about recommending this product for cosmetic purposes, because it is meant to help people who have issues about maybe scars, birthmarks, vitiligo, that sort of stuff. But it's a fantastic product for everyday use as well. I can't see why it can't be used for both. I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with how it feels. I do look a bit like a ghost at the moment because I've completely blanked out all of the highlights and the shadows in my face, which I would probably put back just using products like blushes and bronzers and highlighters, but I'm very happy with it. And I think for the price, I think each tube is just under £18, something like that. Have a look at the website. I think you'll have a system that changes with the seasons as well, because you mix it up bespoke every time you use it. That in itself might be an issue because you don't want to be doing this if you're away, but you can always pre-mix a little batch to use. I'm just full of positives about the system. I am going to buy the rest. I think it's fantastic stuff. And it really has helped me. When I started this video, you could see all the sort of blotchiness on my skin, and it just looked kind of dull, and now it's looking a lot brighter and I'm ready to put on the rest of my makeup. So that was just my little introduction to a camouflage system by Verama. I'm not sponsored by this company in any way. I approached them asking to try their products, fully expecting to be told, well, our products are really expensive, we don't want to give them to you, who are you? Until I explained the reasons why I researched these products are for you, because you write to me and you ask me about products that you can buy, and I've gone away and I've investigated, and now I've tried and I'm really happy with the product. So I'm prepared to put my money where my mouth is and buy the rest because I think it's a great product. I just want to let you know that it's not as simple as going to, say, a supermarket or a high street store and picking something off a shelf, but you will truly get something which is unique to you and that will suit you throughout the year and suit your skin type and your tone. So, well, that was my little review for this product. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.